Hey guys, we're live on the moon. It's Thursday, 7:22 p.m. It's still light outside, guys. September 20th, 2012. You say, well, Bill, where you been, Bill? Well, my astronomy computer busted, bombed out, died. The motherboard, I spent several weeks trying to fix it, replace the power supply and everything, and the motherboard, you know how it is. So I went out and got me a hot box, 4 processors, the whole deal. And so it's been about a month, 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how long. It's been a while. Hopefully I'll be able to get out and do some regular stuff again. Anyhow, we're back to the business at hand. The moon was dark, and it just came up over my porch several nights ago, and this is the first shot that I've had of it. I'm kind of excited about this session. I'm using the same camera, the same setup. The only thing that's different right now is the computer itself. Is a brand new computer, and I don't have it loaded down with anything, just my debut software and my Logitech drivers. I have been noting, because this processor is so damn fast, I'm actually recording at a higher frame rate, so I don't know if that's going to improve the quality of the picture. I would think it should. Right now I'm doing 25 frames per second. I think the maximum was 15 on the other one. And I should still be doing a 1080p. Every once in a while you see a yellow a deal in there, and I'm not sure. I know it's not the telescope or anything. It's the driver, the Logitech driver, and I don't know. It could be because I'm recording it at a high frame rate. This is a work in progress, and if you followed my earlier videos to any extent, you realize that I do quite a bit of experimentation whenever I get a new camera or a new anything. So we'll be experimenting with different settings. But this particular setting here is a very high setting with a 1080p. And right now I'm using a Panoptic 19mm lens. By the way, if you're new to my videos, welcome. I sit here and drink my coffee and kind of look at the moon and talk about it, and we kind of have a little bit of fun. I try not to make these too long. Usually they're around 30 minutes. What's unique about my setup, though, is, guys, I have nothing to hide. I'm here to expose the moon in all its glory for you to enjoy. There is no NASA interference. I say that tongue-in-cheek, but man, today I saw a video a guy did. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to show you what we're interested in. I'm going to be putting on a lens, a Barlow, a 2.5 Barlow, and getting closer. We have another shot at my Snake Bridge. Guys, this excites me terribly. Now you say, well, how do you do that, Bill? You're just kind of zooming in. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm zooming in. My particular setup here, I can actually pan around, and then if I see something, I have a hardware zoom. I push the button and it just zooms right in. It's not a software zoom. Centered is what I call the Snake Bridge, and I haven't seen this thing for a year, or well, less than a year, probably 8 months. I don't know. It's been a long time. Centered. That crater is called Riccius crater. Riccius crater, and named for an Italian astronomer from the 1500s. The thing that interests me is and you see those little, I'm going to have to work on the interference. I have no control over that. I might have to drop the frame rate down. We'll just see how it all turns out. See those yellow things going across there? Those are not those are not UFOs. That's in the Logitech driver. Anyhow, if you look at that centered crater, you'll see what appears to be on the top and on the bottom something that kind of spans the crater. And let me back out so you can isolate and know where this is. If you look closely at this image, that crater to the I'm going to center our Riccius crater. The Snake Bridge is centered, exactly centered. At the 2 o'clock from that crater is a larger crater with a kind of a mountain range going down to the edge. That is Ptolemy crater. And if you go from that crater up to the 1 o'clock, you'll see a mar, or a sea. And that sea is called the Sea of Nectar, or Mar Nectarius. Now, this is going to be interesting. I was looking, I've been looking at a lot of videos. By the way, I have a fantastic website called www.billbryson-astronomer.com, and I've been posting a lot of articles up there. This mar that is centered is called the Sea of Nectar, and I've been putting some interesting articles on there that deal with some strange things on the moon, and you might want to check it out. Look at the 11 o'clock from that mar. That particular crater is called Theophilus crater. Now, what interests me about Theophilus, and I might do an article on it on my, and you can see the shadow line is just not working for us on this, but let me zoom in a little bit. Let me get my bearings right here. Up and down. Okay, I got to go down. I got to push the opposite arrow. The crater centered is Theophilus, and Theophilus has some strange things in it, and there's no way we're going to see it, but north of there's a pile of rocks in the middle, and north of that pile of rocks are tracks of boulders. It looks like boulders 200 feet wide that rolled across the top of that crater for a mile or so, and you can see the tracks on and I'm going to do an article on that. It really is fascinating. The Apollo back in '68 took some images of that area, and you can see the tracks, and you can see the big boulders or whatever they are just laying there, and there's a bunch of them, and something caused these boulders to move. What was it, guys? Was it an earthquake? Is this a volcanic moon that we have? I'm not sure. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, and it's still not dark. It's still not dark, but I don't want to see the shadows moving. I want to take my Barlow and put it in there and take a look at this Snake Bridge from another angle and see what we can see. Welcome back, Carter. And anyhow, I am going to put a Barlow in, and we shall be right back. But by the way, you foreigners out there, Welcome Back, Carter is a sitcom. and I've been away too long, so I'm welcoming you all back in my own way. Hang with me. I'm going to put it on pause. Okay, guys, I'm back, and I put in a 2.5 Teleview PowerMate Barlow, and it's piggybacked on the back of a 19mm Panoptic Teleview Panoptic $300 lens. And before I forget about it, I want to shout out, guys, to Tahir in Ipswich, Suffolk, UK, England, merry old England. He's a guitarist over there that wanted me to put in a good word for him, so I just put in a very good word for him. Now get your telescope out, Tahir. Now look at this picture. This is a manually focused image, and the crater that we're looking at is called, now let me make sure I'm looking at the same thing. It's very difficult. This is a very difficult, it's very difficult even on my moon maps to completely isolate this thing. I can tell you with that crater at 3 o'clock, without doubt, that crater at 3 o'clock is called Ptolemy crater. Okay, and the crater at the 7 o'clock from Ptolemy is called Staboris crater. And I think that the crater, now that I'm looking at it again, I think that crater is, yeah, I think it's called Riccius. I think it's either Rabini Levi or it's Riccius. I think it's Riccius. So let me center it again. Okay. Well, before I center it, let me zoom in just a little bit. And again, I do not have autofocus on. Isn't it wonderful I have all these toys? By the way, I've been getting I get a lot of Facebook traffic and as well YouTube traffic, and I encourage everybody to get them a telescope, as they would say in England, and let's go over here and zoom in on maybe this crater here. Before I do that, let me turn the brightness up just a little bit. Now you got to understand, I got a 2.5 Barlow in there, so when I do zoom in, you're going to lose some clarity. Okay. And for the grins, let's turn the autofocus on. And let's zoom in a little bit. Let's just zoom in all the way. That's as close as I can get. Now let's go over here to our snake bridge, and let's work the contrast and brightness a little bit. There it is, centered. This is I haven't seen this thing for such a long time. Everybody thought it was crazy. It doesn't exist. It does exist, and it looks like, I'll go over what I think we're looking at. It's really hard to tell. I'll turn the contrast down a little bit. So look at the 1 o'clock on that. You'll see what appears to be a cave and something that comes out. And then on the opposite side, at the 6 o'clock on that crater, you have another thing that sticks out. And my hypothesis is that used to be a bridge across that crater, and it crashed into the. So you're looking at the ends of this bridge. And unfortunately, the image we had the last time I did Snake Bridge was better in quality than this one. And I called it a snake bridge because at the base, at the 6 o'clock, that kind of curlicued around, and it looked like one of those tubes we're looking at. You know, those weird tubes on the moon, and it looked like a snake, so I called it a snake bridge. Let me turn autofocus off rather, and work the manual focus just a little bit. Now, see, I can't get a better picture for you. And let's zoom back out. Okay, I'll leave the Barlow in for right now, and let's just kind of do a survey of the shadow line and see what we can see. I was commenting on NASA disparagingly, and I shouldn't do that. I want to encourage all NASA employees to watch my videos and spend billions of dollars on the moon and Mars and everything else, and go there and show me what I need to see. But a guy did a video on YouTube of the Hell crater on Mars, where the Curiosity is, and it's that big crater that they use for the, you know, it's one that you can zoom into, zoom, you know, and see a lot of detail, and it supposedly was made from photos. Well, this guy went in and proved that it was made from cut and paste. I mean, it was just kind of put together. It wasn't real. It wasn't. So I'm wondering if the whole damn thing is a fake. I mean, I don't know what in the hell to believe anymore. Hey, let's do this. Let me turn my color up a little bit and see if we can see any color in this area. It's not quite completely dark yet, but it's getting there, and you can see some color coming out. Let me turn the brightness down, and let's get our bearings again. That is the Mar Nectarius, the nectar, the Sea of Nectar. That is the Sea of Nectar. I get a lot of comments about people. You appreciate my thumbnail sketch tours of this area and everything. Okay, let's go up from that, and now you can see some color there. There's a Mar on the top and there's a Mar on the bottom. The Mar on the top is the Mar of Tranquility, which I show you quite a bit. And that crater that's centered right there between the Mar of Tranquility and that's Tarunitis, Taruntius crater. And the Mar right below that crater is called the Sea of Fiducity. Isn't that a pretty picture? Matter of fact, just for grins, guys, let's zoom in. I see something interesting. See, I'm always looking for things. Look at that kind of strange structure. It's just a big crater with a mountain range at 7 o'clock that is centered right there. See it? Let's zoom in on that. Just kind of a unusual mountain. Yeah. And this Sea of Fiducity, look at the, you say, what's that big crater down there at the edge? That is the Larginus crater, that large crater at the edge. which I have centered right there. And look at those three little craters just above that. Isn't the moon pretty? Isn't that a great picture? It's a great picture. Yeah, I was going crazy. I couldn't get out and do the moon, you know. I just got to do the moon. And what have we here? This is the ferret, guys. The ferret. And since we're at the ferret and we have a good angle at it, why do I call it a ferret? Because it looks like a ferret. See those two beady eyes? And his whiskers and, you know, his mouth. Let me talk about this for just a second. It's called Mar Cressium, or the Sea of Crisis. The Sea of Crisis. Now, there's a lot of people that think at the mouth, right there at the mouth. I'm going to zoom in on it. There's a bridge that wasn't there in earlier. In 68, this bridge wasn't there. If you go back and look at I might do an article on this on my website. I'll zoom all the way in. Centered. See that straight line, kind of to the left of the whisker? There are people that say that was not there back in 68, that straight line is a bridge, a land bridge that was 12. It's not that whole bridge, there's a segment in there that was rebuilt, and it's 12 miles long, and this is just the proof to see it. Now I'll go into investigate. If you do a search on the internet for the moon for 12-mile bridge, you might run across something on it. But that's where it's at, right at the mouth of the ferret. At the mouth of the ferret. Okay. And if you go to the left of the mouth of the ferret, see how pretty that is? That is the Sea of Tranquility. And let's keep on going up the shadow line. Now, this is important. This is a good place for me to center. I'm going to show you the Apollo 17 landing site if I can. Okay. First of all, let me give you a perspective. The crater that's centered, right there centered, let's see if I make sure it's right. I think that the crater that's centered, no, I can't figure it out. The crater that's centered right there is Macrobius crater. I tell you, I'm going to put this on pause. We have a couple more minutes, and I'm going to locate the Apollo 17 exactly by comparing it with my map, and then I'll better hone in for you. Hang with me. Okay, I've pegged it down. That crater that's centered is called Vitruvius crater, and the one to its kind of 330 is Gardner crater, and the one to its kind of like 2 or so is a larger crater is Mardelli crater. Well, let me refocus this manually. Okay. If you take a close look at the centered crater, Well, it's centered now. Vesuvius crater. Let me try to turn autofocus on. It's jumping around. See what's happening? The moon is actually going down in the sky. So when it goes down in the sky, it is right above Vesuvius. When it goes down, it gets lower it's closer to the Earth, and it gets more atmospheric. Centered. Now let me increase the brightness a little bit and the contrast down. Exactly centered right there in that mountain range. In the shadow of that one ridge on that mountain is where Apollo 17 landed on December 11th, 1972. It's exactly centered. It's in that shadow, that dark shadow. Let me see if I can turn the contrast, work the contrast and the controls. Let me try to zoom in on that particular area. It's going to be a little, it's going to be kind of out of focus because it's see that kind of dark area center, which is a shadow from that one mountain? At about the top of that, at the edge, is exactly where Apollo 17 landed. Now take a look at this. I'm going to zoom back out. See, those are all mountains, guys. This was an incredible feat. And let me work the focus again. That's as good as I can get. You can see it jumping in and out. I can't control that. And I'll back out. But centered is exactly where the Apollo 17 landed, right there, kind of north of Vesuvius crater. And that large crater at the exact top of the screen is called Riccius crater. See, you're getting so smart just watching my videos, guys. Let's continue this survey. We do have a couple more minutes. And see that blue at the edge of the moon? I think that the moon has an atmosphere. I think that shows us. Isn't that a beautiful picture? That shows us the atmosphere. And when I had that off time, I spent a lot of time going through the Clementine, and I've learned how to navigate myself through the Chinese database. By the way, if you're so inclined and interested, I did an audio interview with some Australia mates on a radio show in Australia called Shiny Side Up. I have the link on my website. It's a 2-hour radio show, so, and I cover the whole gamut. And let's go full circle back up to my snake bridge where I started this sucker. And let's zoom in one more time for what it's worth. That's probably as clear as I can get. Now you can see at the bottom. See how that snake comes off on the bottom at the 6 o'clock on that crater, and then it kind of goes a curlicue left and right and left. It looks like a snake. And my hypothesis is that thing that sticks out from there at the 6 o'clock was connected to that other end at the 1 o'clock and went into a cave, and that bridge fell down. So it's an ancient civilization on the moon, guys. Of course, I don't know if that's true or not. I just know that makes good radio, that's for sure. I'll be working on quality control, trying to determine the best setup for this new computer. and I'll be doing more frequently videos of the moon as I have the weather and the wind. The wind is a factor as well. In the meantime, wishing you and yours clear skies, guys.